When a new country's born, it needs more than just a flag or an anthem. It needs an image, a story it tells itself, and the world. And today, we're going to dive into how 19th century Brazil used paint and canvas to literally forge its own identity from the ground up. I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You've just declared independence. You're a new empire. But all of your cultural DNA is still tied to the old colonial power. So what do you do? How do you even begin to create a visual language that screams, this is us, this is Brazil? All right, so picture this. It's 1822. Brazil has officially split from Portugal. And this isn't just about politics, it's an identity crisis. There's this super urgent need to figure out what it even means to be Brazilian. And art becomes one of the main tools in this massive project of building a nation. And let's be clear, this wasn't some organic artists in a cafe kind of movement. Nope. The state itself jumped right in, founding the Imperial Academy of Fine Arts in Rio de Janeiro to basically be the headquarters for this mission. The goal was crystal clear: train artists to create an official, sophisticated look for the brand new Brazilian empire.
So, what's step one? Well, if you want to be seen as a legit, powerful nation on the world stage back then, you kind of had to copy the homework of the big kids in Europe. For Brazil, this was a totally calculated move. It meant importing the dominant style of the time, Neoclassicism.
And believe me, this was no accident. Even before independence, all the way back in 1816, a French artistic mission shows up, bringing these European ideals straight to Rio. Then, after the break from Portugal, the Academy gets founded in 1826, and that really cements this style as the official starting point. So what is Neoclassicism anyway? In one word, control. It's all about reason, order, balance. It looked at earlier art styles and saw chaos, so it looked way back to ancient Greece and Rome for inspiration. We're talking clean lines, balanced scenes, and a sense of calm, cool, unshakable logic.
And you can bet this style had a political job to do. In paintings like this one, the crowning of Emperor Pedro II, everything is just so orderly, symmetrical, and grand. This isn't just a painting of a coronation, it's a political billboard. It's screaming to the world, hey, the Brazilian Empire is stable, legitimate, and every bit as sophisticated as you guys in Europe.
But, okay, here's the catch. Neoclassicism's cool, controlled ideal on the left, it didn't always vibe with the messy, vibrant, tropical reality of Brazil on the right. So you had artists trying to cram these uniquely Brazilian subjects into a really rigid European box, and it created this fascinating visual tension. And it's that exact tension that leads to a huge shift. Artists and thinkers started to feel like, just copying Europe isn't going to cut it. To really define Brazil, they had to look inward at the country's wild landscapes, its own unique history, its people. It was time to find the nation's soul. And the move to Romanticism, it was a complete 180. Where Neoclassicism was all about reason, Romanticism was about emotion. Where Neoclassicism focused on the power of the empire, Romanticism zeroed in on the spirit of the nation. And inspiration was no longer ancient Greece and Rome, but Brazil's own incredible nature and its own dramatic history. Right, so here's the crucial thing. Romanticism in Brazil wasn't just about some painter's personal feelings. It was a group project. It was all about using drama, emotion, and the absolutely awe-inspiring power of the tropical landscape to forge these powerful symbols of national pride. And this painting right here, it's the perfect example. This is one of the most famous paintings in all of Brazilian history, the first Mass in Brazil. It's not just showing an event, it's creating a founding myth. You've got the calm, holy cross set against this wild, untamed nature, and the curious indigenous people looking on. It is pure national drama on a canvas. And then you have this, Independence or Death by Pedro Américo. Talk about capturing the moment of the nation's birth. I mean, just look at the energy, the raw emotion, the heroic, almost cinematic feel of it all. This is Romanticism at its absolute peak, turning a historical moment into this epic story that every Brazilian could feel in their bones. So, we've got the cool, orderly Neoclassicism and the fiery, passionate nationalism of Romanticism. So what happens next? Well, the Imperial Academy basically takes both, throws them in a blender, and creates this formal, official, and uniquely Brazilian style called Academicism.
Yeah, the best way to think about academicism is as a powerful fusion. It took the super strict technical skills, the focus on anatomy, on composition, from Neoclassicism, and aimed it right at the big patriotic subjects that Romanticism had made so popular. It was kind of the best of both worlds, and it all came with the Academy's official stamp of approval.
But the Academy's role here was complicated. On the one hand, it was amazing. It made being an artist a real profession and pushed for incredible technical skill. But on the other hand, it could be really restrictive by saying these are the approved subjects, big history paintings, portraits of rich people. It didn't leave a lot of room for the weird experimental stuff that really pushes art forward. So after this whole journey, from importing ideas from Europe to creating homegrown epics, what was the result? What's the lasting legacy of this massive 19th century art project? Well, when you boil it down, it was really a three-step process. First, Brazil imported a European framework to look orderly and legit. Then, it looked inward and explored its own unique character with a ton of passion. And finally, it institutionalized that identity, creating a formal style that defined the whole look of the empire.
And here's why this all still matters so much. These paintings were never just pretty pictures to hang on palace walls. They became the very images printed in history textbooks for over 100 years. They have fundamentally shaped how generations of Brazilians see their own history, their own national story. This piece by Rodolfo Amoedo just captures that final synthesis perfectly. You can see the incredible technique, that classical grasp of the human body, that's the neoclassical training shining through. But the subject, it's the coffee cycle, the economic engine of Brazil. It's a theme that is 100% Brazilian, and it really set the stage for all the art that would come next. So it really leaves us with a pretty deep question to chew on, right? When we think about our own country's past, are we actually remembering objective history? Or are we remembering a beautiful, powerful, and dramatic story that was first told to us with an artist's brush?